All right, let's get right into this. We're looking at a pretty incredible story today. How a tech company all the way from Melbourne is planning this, well, audacious move into one of the most futuristic cities on Earth, Dubai. It's basically a blueprint for using AI to run those massive, gleaming towers you see everywhere. But let's start with a really simple, kind of sci-fi question. What if buildings weren't just concrete and glass? What if they could tell you something was wrong before it actually broke? What if, in a way, they could start to fix themselves? It's a huge idea, and it's really at the heart of this whole thing.
Because let's be honest, the way we've been managing buildings for decades, it's fundamentally broken. I mean, it's slow, it's inefficient, and it just creates this endless, frustrating cycle of delayed repairs for people living there and crazy, unpredictable costs for the owners.
So, to really understand the solution they're proposing, we first have to get just how deep the problem goes. Let's break down exactly why the traditional model is failing. It all starts with inefficiency, delays, and just terrible communication.
And look, these problems are probably super familiar to a lot of us, right? Think about it. Manual paperwork that just vanishes, having zero idea if a contractor has actually shown up, the constant headache of meeting regulations, and of course that classic black hole where you report an issue and then crickets. You hear nothing for days. This is the exact chaos that tech is supposed to solve.
So, with a problem that big, where do you go to solve it in the most impactful way you possibly can? Well, you go where the buildings are bigger, the stakes are higher, and the market is just absolutely exploding. You go to the UAE.
And to put this opportunity into perspective, we're not talking about some small niche market here. The facility management market in the UAE is expected to be worth over $8.1 billion next year alone. That is a colossal market just begging for innovation. But wait, it gets even bigger. If you look just 5 years down the road, that market is projected to rocket past $11.2 billion. That's a jump of nearly 40% in just 5 years. It's a staggering rate of growth, and it's all driven by new skyscrapers, smart city projects, and this relentless push for a more diverse economy. When you see it laid out visually like this, that growth curve is just, wow, it's steep. What this chart is really telling us isn't just steady growth. It's a rapidly expanding frontier, and that creates a massive gap in the market for companies that can bring in fresh, tech-first solutions.
Okay, so if the old way is the problem and the UAE is the opportunity, then what's the solution? This brings us to the core of the whole plan, a suite of AI-powered tools from this Melbourne company, Freedom Facilities, designed to tackle all those pain points we talked about head-on.
First up, there is property care. This is all about fixing that broken communication link. It's a simple mobile app that lets a tenant instantly report a leaky pipe with a photo, get real-time updates on when the plumber is coming, and track the whole process from start to finish. No more shouting into the void. Next, you've got Asset Scan Pro. This is for the building itself. Think of it like a health tracker for every single air conditioner, elevator, and water pump. By scanning a QR code, a manager can see an asset's entire life history. But here's the magic. It uses sensors and predictive algorithms to warn you that a failure is likely to happen, so you can fix it before it actually breaks. That's a game changer.
And finally, tying it all together is the AI Maintenance Help Desk. This is basically the central brain for the entire operation. It takes all the data from the other tools and uses machine learning to schedule and prioritize every single task, from routine checks to full-blown emergencies. It even has a multilingual AI chatbot for 24/7 support, which, is perfect for the diverse environment of the UAE.
So, you have the technology. That's great. But how do you actually launch it in a new, super competitive market? You need a clear, step-by-step plan. This section lays out the company's 3-phase blueprint for getting in and eventually leading the UAE market. Okay, so the first year is all about getting a foothold, setting up the legal stuff and running pilot programs in iconic spots like Dubai Marina. The second year, the plan is to scale up, aiming for over 50 buildings. By year 3, the goal is market leadership, and they're even looking at expanding into neighboring countries. It's a really clear and ambitious roadmap. And here's how they plan to fuel that journey. They're looking for an 8.5 million dirham investment, and it's broken down very strategically. You can see right away, their plan puts about 2/3 of the cash directly into their core assets, the technology, and the team. That tells you their strategy is all about having the best product and the best people, not just a flashy marketing campaign.
Now we get to the really good part, the payoff. What's the expected result of unleashing this advanced AI in such a high-growth market? This section is all about the projected return on that innovation.
The company's entire competitive pitch really hinges on the sharp contrast. On one side, you have the traditional players, the reactive, manual, and kind of stuck in the past. And on the other, you have this new approach, AI first, automated, and predictive. Their whole value proposition is moving away from fixing things when they break to preventing them from breaking in the first place. And this strategy, according to their financial models, is projected to generate 42 million dirhams. That's over $11 million in annual revenue just from the UAE within 5 years. That's a bold target, but one they argue is totally achievable, given the size of the market and the efficiencies their platform creates.
So the bottom line for any potential investors is this: a projected 7.2 times return on investment over 5 years. And they're building this case on what they call a first-mover advantage. See, the goal isn't just to compete. It's to create and define a whole new category of AI-powered facility management before the old guard even knows what hit them.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. This whole blueprint is about making our buildings smarter, more efficient, more responsive. But as we hand over the keys to these incredibly complex systems to an AI, it's worth asking, in the smart city of the future, who is all this efficiency really working for? The owners, the tenants, or maybe the AI itself?